Hi there, folks. Our goal for today is to work on drawing graphs, constructing graphs using the idea of concavity and increasing and decreasing intervals to come up with a good picture on our own without using our graphing calculators, but using the behavior that we can figure out in the charts. Your homework I would like you to do on graph paper. There's built-in graph paper and Notability, so that works great. Just set your background to be the graph paper. And then when you upload it and submit it to Canvas, make sure you enable that background so that it gets submitted too. Otherwise, you'll just get submitted a blank paper. And even if you did it on graph paper, I won't be able to see it unless you enable the background when you submit it on Canvas. Okay, so please keep that in mind. All right, so what we're going to do is start with looking at a table that tells us first derivative information and also tells us second derivative information. And we're going to sketch a function that could fit that, meet all those requirements. Now there's more than one answer, so everybody's answer could look slightly different, but there should be some things that they have in common. All right, so when you graph this, you don't need a y-axis if you don't have a specific point you're going through. We really just need an x-axis. So I'm going to start with just an x-axis here. And my x-axis is going to be broken up according to the intervals on the chart. So I need -2 and 0. So let's put 0 here. Let's put -2. And then I'm going to need 3. And so those critical points on the chart kind of divide your graph into regions. So I'm just going to use a yellow line, which I'll erase later, to kind of divide my graph up into sections. Okay, so let's do this section here, the section where x is less than 2. In that section, I have a negative for the first derivative. That means my graph should be decreasing. It should be going down, okay, so a down shape, but it should have positive second derivative, so positive first concavity. So going down, your arrow should be going down from left to right, but positive first concavity. So that's going to look something like this. See how I'm going down, but I have the curve that is positive concavity, and I never go up. I stay going down the whole time, but I have positive concavity. All right, let's do the next section. So the next section of the graph between 0 and 2, so that'll be this section, I need to have positive, so I need to be going up, and I still want to have positive concavity. So my direction is going to change, and I'm going to be going up. All right, until I get to the end of that section. Okay, now we want between 0 and 3, so that'll be this section here. I still want to go up, but I need to have negative concavity. So my plus, my positive means I'm increasing, so I'm going in an up direction, but my concavity means I need to be curving with negative concavity. So that's going to look like this. I'm going up, but I have a curve that is negative concavity. Let me erase this line that was kind of getting in the way here. And then we've got a final section. So let's see what we can do with that. Okay, so for this section here, we now want to be going down, and we want to have negative concavity. So my curve will now curve downward with negative concavity, and it will just do that the rest of the time. And so now we can go back and erase these sort of division lines. We don't need them anymore. They're not important. And so that is a sketch of a graph that meets all of the requirements for all of the sections. So I've got a graph that decreases with positive concavity, increases with positive concavity, increases with negative concavity, and then finally decreases with negative concavity. And the ends of this, and so that is just a general shape sketching from that graph. Now see how I didn't use a y-axis at all? Now somebody else could have drawn one that maybe dipped a little lower and then maybe went a little higher and then came back down, and that would be totally fine too, because it still did everything it needed to do between the different intervals. So don't get so hung up on being how high do I go, how low do I go. It's more of does my graph follow the increasing and decreasing sections, and does the concavity match what the concavity graph should be. All right, let's try another one. Now this time I gave you a graph, but I also gave you a particular point of 0, 2. So let me show you how that does now affect your y-axis. So I have an x-axis on here again. My x-axis is going to divide up, here's 0, here's -1, and then 2 is important, and then 4 is important. And so I'm going to use just sort of my highlighter feature to divide this graph into some regions so it can help me picture it. All right. I also this time have the point 0, 2 on the y-axis. So I want to add the y-axis this time. And I need to go through that point. So whatever I do, I need to go through that particular point. So I'm going to start actually with that region, which is this region between -1 and 2. So I'm going to start in that interval and I need to be going in an increasing direction, and I need to have positive concavity, and I have to go through this point here. So I need to make sure that I am increasing, going through that point with positive concavity. Okay, increasing, going through that point with positive concavity. I could also draw it like this, increasing with positive concavity. There's lots of different, now I could not do something like this. Okay, that wouldn't work because that has a little decreasing section. Whatever I do, I have to make sure I'm always increasing, and I always have positive concavity, and I always go through that point. Okay, so there's a couple, let's clean this up a little bit again. All right, so I'm going to go for a graph that does this. Increases with positive concavity. Okay, now I can look at some of the other intervals. Let's look at this one. For that interval, I need to be going up, but I need to have negative concavity. Okay, going up. Remember, you're working from left to right. So this does not mean going up because that's going backwards. Going up means you're working from left to right, not from right to left. So going up, but with negative concavity and attaching to the section where I just was. So I'm coming up with negative concavity, see my curve? And I'm going to attach myself to where I was right there. Okay, I'm going up with negative concavity. All right, let's move over to this one, between 2 and 4. Between 2 and 4, I need to still go up, and I need to have negative concavity. I might need to clear some space. Okay, so because I need to attach myself to the end of this graph, I need to keep going up, but I need to have concavity that is negative. So if I'm keeping going up but switching concavity, now I have a graph that is going up but has negative concavity. The very last section of my graph, from everything greater than 4, I now need to go down and I need to be concave down. So the only way to accomplish going down and being concave down is gonna be to have my graph look like this. I am going down and I am concave down. So now I've met all the requirements of the graph. So let's kind of look at it overall just to double check. I need to go from increasing to increasing, and then increasing to increasing some more, and then I switch to decreasing. So let's double check. I was increasing, and increasing some more, and then I finally switched to decreasing. So that is a possibility that meets all of the requirements. Now let's check the concavity. Concavity is supposed to be concave down, switching to concave up, and then switching back to concave down, and then staying concave down. So concave down, switching to concave up, switching back to concave down, and staying concave down the whole way. And so once again, I've now met all of my requirements, and I went through that point 0, 2 that I needed to go through. All right, here's another one. Okay, we want to, I gave you a couple points you have to go through this time. I gave you the point -2, 3, and I gave you the point 5, 4. So those are 2 specific points that we want to go through. And then we have several intervals we want to do. So let's get this drawing going here on my x-axis. -2, 0, +2, +4, and then greater than 4. I think I might want to move this graph over to give myself a little bit more room to work with. So I'm actually gonna, you guys can use your Notability to move that if you want. I think I'm gonna slide this over, and I'm gonna do it over here. All right, -2, 0, 2, and 4. And I'm gonna use my yellow highlighter just to kind of help me with some guidelines in between, which I'll erase later. Okay, and I need to put a couple points on my, so I've got -2, +3. So if this is the y-axis here, -2, +3 is going to be right here. And +4, +3. So right here, so I need to make sure I go through those points. I also have the information that f of 0 does not exist. Not f prime of 0, but f of 0 does not exist. That means I have an asymptote along the y-axis. So f of 0 here is a full and complete asymptote. So I can't cross. Remember, asymptotes are, you cannot cross that line. You can get close to it, but don't cross it. What else do we have? We have f prime. Notice now this is the first prime information that does not exist. So that means at 4 we either have a corner or we have a cusp. Does not exist does not exist means an asymptote for a function, but it needs a corner or cusp when you're talking about a prime. Okay, a prime, corner, or cusp. All right, I think we're ready to try drawing this. So let's look at this first interval. As I approach -2, I need to have negative slope with positive concavity. So I'm not going to come up towards that point this way because that has positive slope. I need to make sure that I'm coming towards that point with negative slope and still have positive concavity. So I think I'm going to come down towards that point like this. Okay, negative slope, positive concavity. All right, the next interval. I need to keep with negative slope, and I need to switch to negative concavity. So I need to keep with negative slope, but switch to negative concavity. And I can't touch this asymptote, I can't cross it. So I'm going to be just coming really close to my asymptote, but not crossing that line. The next section, between 0 and 2, I also can't touch the asymptote. I need to have positive slope with negative concavity. Positive slope with negative concavity. Do you see how I curved there? All right, then let's see. My next interval between 2 and 4. Okay, I need to keep positive slope, but I'm going to have positive concavity, and I'm going to touch that point. Keep my positive slope and have positive concavity and hit that point right there. So my concavity bend of the curve switched, but I'm still increasing. Now I'm to the point where I should have a corner or a cusp of some kind. In my last interval, I need to now decrease, but have positive concavity. So that's where my cusp is formed, because I now need to go down. I need to decrease from here, but have positive concavity. So that graph right there has positive concavity. So now I've done it all. I went through the points I was supposed to. I formed a cusp where I was supposed to. I have an asymptote that I didn't cross. And all of my other concavity intervals are what they're supposed to be. So if we I'm going to go back and erase. We don't need all these little lines that were there to help us out. And we come up with a really nice looking graph that meets all the requirements. So remember, your graph might look slightly different than somebody else's as long as you've met the requirements of the function you're supposed to sketch. All right, so good luck with that. We'll talk more about this on Wednesday together as a class. If you feel like these couple lessons are kicking your butt, go ahead and sign up for some time on Friday so that as we wrap up, okay, by the time we get to Friday, we'll be pretty much getting done with chapter 4 and we'll be looking ahead to a test. So we want to start the semester off strong, and so yeah, sign up if you want to come in on Friday. Okay, thanks. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day.